I'm kind of curious about this decision, quote unquote, the decision, LeBron James-esque, the decision that's happening here midweek from U.S. Soccer, and what's going to be said or not said.
By the way, Jimmy, before you finish,
go ahead.
If U.S. Soccer makes a sort of statement like that, hey, guys, everyone in media, we're making an announcement next week. Don't you think that that means they have to move on? Because
they have to move on.
They don't.
You can't have that and then say, hey, by the way, Greg Berhalter is coming back. You can't say that.
My whole point is he has a contract, so they don't need to make a statement on his future. They wouldn't have to say, guys, next week we got, because they would just say, all right, well, we're keeping him. He's under contract. We don't have to tell you anything. We don't have to have an official meeting of, all right, guys, the decision's in. He's staying.
Well,
no,
I then the pitchforks would be out. I mean, we'd all be like, what the hell is even going on here? Which is more than possible given some of the decisions we've seen in the past. But I wonder what that happens. But after the game, Matt Crocker said, we're going to review everything and we're going to take a look at this. So I think having a decision is just putting a button on the review. And if the review means, hey, we like what Greg's doing.
I like that.
But I don't know. And I agree with Tones that we hit a ceiling. And I thought it was very clear that we had hit a ceiling with Greg Berhalter. Like there was nothing he was going to do after the 2022 World Cup that was going to move the group along. I super obvious to see, even more obvious to see in hindsight. But anyway, there's been a report from Doug McIntyre who said that USSF, US Soccer will reach out to Jurgen Klopp, but that Steve Cherundolo could be a more realistic option. Now,
have you heard any whispers about Jurgen?
I've heard that he is not this. I don't have any like out and out sources, but I heard that there was some talks that he wasn't interested. That's the only whispers I've heard. So we'll see. I hope that somebody was like messing with me because I'll be absolutely thrilled if Jurgen Klopp takes over. Obviously,
who's your source, Jimmy?
Who's your little
I'm
finger?
I'm not naming names.
I want to know who your little finger is.
I wouldn't be surprised though if Jurgen Klopp has no interest in this job. I mean, who knows, right? Maybe he does want to take a year off. Maybe he doesn't have an interest now, but that doesn't shock me if that is true, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the rumor that I heard out there too is that they were offering him $10 million a year, or his people put out a long time ago when the first search happened that he'd be looking for $10 million a year. Yeah, I mean, things can change over time. We'll have to wait and see. He did put out that Instagram message shouting out all U.S. fans or whatever. So that
he just
was,
said, "Let me have some banter."
That didn't help.
He said,
"No,
let me have
help.
some bunts with the U.S. group."
Yeah, that didn't help at all. But in speaking with Doug McIntyre, when he brought up Cherundolo, I had mentioned to Doug that I even think Steve Cherundolo would probably say, I don't have enough experience, or I'm not ready to
he's got a great thing going
to take that over. Listen, I love Steve Cherundolo. I think he's he was an incredible player. I don't think he gets the respect that he deserves kind of when you look back at his playing career, and super smart, both on and off the field. I always knew he'd be a good coach, and that's proven to be true with LAFC. But I think he would even say, yeah, this would be cool, but I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. I know if it was offered to him, it'd probably be hard to turn down. But if he's looking at it critically, that's what I think. And the Steve that I know would be like, I don't know yet. Like, I don't know if I'm maybe 2030, 2034, when I have more years under my belt, that makes a lot more sense for me. But
I think for Cherundolo too, he wouldn't leave the situation he's in right now in LAFC. It's not like it's a sinking ship and he's looking for a way out. It's a machine. Just keep winning. And obviously, I think ideally he'd like to go manage in the Bundesliga first and get that experience. And then I think he's in the path right now, the mindset of, let me try and get as far as I possibly can and fulfill my potential, because taking the U.S. job doesn't make sense. That's always going to be there as a former U.S. international, someone who's won an MLS Cup and got to another one and could win more silverware with LAFC at the moment. So those opportunities aren't going anywhere. Get the experiences that you can't get, you can't make up for if you pass them by. So I think, one, it's too early for him as well, but two, this is something where he can have this down the line. He's going to just keep pushing and continue to try and have as much success as he can.
Okay, so let's get
Yeah.
into this quote from one of your teammates back in the day, Big Tones, from Tab Ramos. He had an interview with Mike Wotella from Soccer America, and in it he said, "I hope we go after an international coach. We just need somebody to come in for 18 months who knows the World Cup and can prepare this team the best that he can to give this team the best shot at having a great World Cup. That's it. No learning on the job person, someone who has been there and done that and win as much as possible at the World Cup, and then we can see what happens."
It's kind of like Bora, no?
Yeah. You bring somebody in who
Yeah.
knows the deal. And so I agree with Tab here. This is
Yeah.
we're in the no bullshit zone now. Like, we need to hire and bring somebody in that knows how to get the most out of a group in a short period of time, get everybody on the same page, and we're getting after it, right?
Well,
and I don't think we have that, obviously, in place right now.
I can tell you, Tab knows the group better than anybody, right? He's coached in more European or more knockout competitions than any U.S. coach that we've ever had between the youth and with national teams. Let me go back to Cherundolo really quick. I think Steve Cherundolo will be the coach of our national team one day, but this isn't the time for Steve Cherundolo. And I'm with you, Jimmy. I think he knows it. He understands it. He probably feels the same way. Now, with that said, where do you go? I just think you need somebody that not only understands and knows the group, but is going to put their foot down, right? Because every camp, I feel like I keep hearing this narrative about the players are comfortable, they like the coach. You know what? The fact that they like the coach. Look, Greg is a likable guy. If you meet him, you're going to like him, right? It's not. So I get it, but who cares in the end? Like, did you like every coach you played for? I don't think so. You and I were just talking off air, and we don't have to bring up the names, but you didn't necessarily like every minute of your time. But you know what you did? You played and you busted your ass, right? Like, who cares if you like the coach, if you like all your team? It's great if you do. I've been every national team I was on. We all liked each other, right? We didn't go around telling everybody this, I use the word kumbaya, that we were having. No, you busted your ass, and that's what you did. So I'd rather have a coach that everybody hates, but we find ourselves in the semifinal of the World Cup in 2006. You know what I mean? Like, like, I don't care. Like, that you most guys like their coach, right? You like them. There's 11 guys every game that like the coach a lot, and there's 3 guys that like the coach a little bit, or 5 guys now. I'm dating myself. 5 guys now that get in the game that like their coach a little bit, and the rest of the team hates the coach. Like, that's how the world of soccer is, right? Like, so I'm tired of hearing about all of that and committees, and I just want the guy that's going to straighten this group out and put us in the right direction. I don't care. If you want a foreign coach, perfect. Let's get a foreign coach. You want an American coach? Perfect. Let's get an American coach. I don't care who it is. Just find the right guy to straighten this thing out.
See, I think U.S. soccer, right, are in a predicament because they didn't plan for plan B, plan C, plan D, right? This is something they did not plan for.
That's how the team plays on the field, Chuck. That's kind of funny you say that.
They didn't see the U.S. men's national team not getting out of the group. I can tell you right now. There's no way they thought that would happen, that would be a possibility. Forget the knockout stages of losing to Colombia, Brazil. If you have a good match, you can make – if they had a match like they did against Uruguay and they lost to Colombia or Brazil in that knockout round, you'd say, hey, well, it was a pretty valiant effort, right? We kind of knew we weren't going to get through. It was kind of – we had hopes, and there was some – then they just say, we're going to stick with them because the guys worked hard and they fought. And the excuse was they got out of the group and they ran up against a tough team, right? A semifinalist in Copa America. That's out the window. They didn't prepare. So now they're at the drawing board. Like, what do we go from here? I think fans want to see a big name. Fans want a name that everyone can get behind. If you say, someone who has charisma, a big name, it's easy. I think all former players, we just want a manager who knows how to coach the team, whose experience will lead them to playing some good style of football and soccer that we know they can achieve, and maybe do something different, right? Go further than we hope and exceed expectations. That's what I would like to see. But again, for U.S. soccer, it's how long well, if they do decide to move on for Greg, and I don't see how I don't see a possible way that they can stick with Greg after this failure. So how long will that coaching search last? How long are they willing to let it last till you find the right guy?
Yeah, I think what's interesting about U.S. soccer is, was there a quote out there from somebody, a journalist, who said that Greg Berhalter, or maybe even Doug said this, they consider Greg Berhalter radioactive right now. If you think that right now you think he's radioactive, you've been living in a bubble for quite some time. He's been radioactive, I think, since he got rehired in the position, or even after he made those comments about Gio Reyna.